In this video, I'll be sharing my Wilson Pro Staff review. Now, the Wilson Pro Staff tennis racket has been around a long time, and it's been one of the most popular tennis rackets of the last few decades. And what I want to cover today for you is the kind of overall on-court performance of the Pro Staff so that you can decide if it's potentially a good racket for your playing style and your skill level. And then after that, I want to talk about the specific models of the Pro Staff. So there's 4 different versions that we'll talk about. And then at the end, I'll talk about my own experience playing with this tennis racket. I played a few singles and doubles matches with this racket, and I'll talk a little bit about how it performed for me. And below, we're going to include some links to more information as well as a few places that you can buy the Wilson Pro Staff. So to start, we'll talk about the specifications and the on-court performance of the Pro Staff. This racket has a 97 square inch head size. The string pattern is 16 by 19. It has a relatively thin beam, and it's a pretty heavy tennis racket. So it's definitely a racket for more advanced players. It's geared more towards control than it is power. So if you're a beginner or low-level intermediate player, it's not a great racket for you. But if you're anywhere in that intermediate to advanced range and you want something that is going to help you with control and feel and things like that, then it's going to be a great option for you. If you're able to generate your own power, then this is a really good tennis racket. Wilson has put a lot of technology into this frame, which again, we'll link to more information about that below, but it adds to the comfort level. So you're going to really feel the ball on the strings. It kind of sits on the strings for a little while, adding to that control. The response is really soft, similar to the Wilson Blade, at least for me it was. And then the string pattern, like I said, it's 16 by 19, so it's relatively open. So you're able to generate plenty of spin with this racket. You can see, or you've probably watched Federer before, and he hits that knifing kind of backhand slice. And this string pattern helps add to that spin, and it'll help with top spin as well. Because the racket is pretty heavy, it's going to be pretty stable as well. So if you're playing really high level singles or doubles, trying to defend against some really fast paced shots, it's going to be a very stable racket for you, whether you're hitting volleys, returns off big serves, or simply defending against big ground strokes. So overall, not a very powerful racket. I'll talk about the different versions here in a second and how they relate to the different power. But again, not a very powerful racket, definitely geared more towards control, feel, a really high level of comfort, and pretty decent spin for a racket with only a 97 square inch head size. So that's it for the on-court performance. Next, we'll get into the 4 different versions of the Pro Staff. So the first version of the Pro Staff we'll talk about is actually the version that Roger Federer uses. I'm sure he customizes it a pretty good bit, but the Wilson Pro Staff RF97 V13 is the heaviest racket of the 4. It is, I believe, 12.6 ounces when it's strung. So that's going to add a little bit of power, it's going to add a little bit of stability, but it's going to take a little bit of handling and kind of maneuverability away from you. So it's definitely a racket for advanced players, for people who are really fit and play a lot of tennis because it is so heavy. And like I said, it's going to really add to that stability. So if you play really high level, really fast paced tennis, it could potentially be a good option for you. This racket I have in my hand is the Pro Staff 97 V13, so it's kind of the baseline model. V13 is version 13, so they're on the 13th version of this racket. And this racket has the same specs as the RF97, except it is going to be a little bit lighter. So this is probably what I'd recommend for most players, unless you're playing high-level college tennis or you're semi-pro or something like that. This version is going to have decent weight behind it, definitely more so than a lot of other advanced rackets. You're still going to have a lot of control, and it's going to be a little bit easier to handle than that RF97 version. So you'll be able to kind of move around the court a little bit easier with this one. The third version is the 97L, so it's again the same specifications, just a little bit lighter. So if you prefer a lighter racket, or maybe if you're a little bit closer to that intermediate skill level, the 97L might be a good fit for you. And then the fourth version is the 97UL, so that stands for ultra light, and it is the lightest. Again, same specifications other than the weight. So that version is going to be for probably intermediate players who can generate their own power, but they need something lighter because of their skill level, and they want to kind of get an intro into some more control-based, more advanced rackets. Any juniors who aren't as physically mature yet or physically strong might also consider the 97UL or the 97L. So that's it for the four versions. Next, I'll talk a little bit about my own experience playing with the Pro Staff. So for me, I had a chance to play some doubles and singles with the Pro Staff. I played with this version. This is the 97 kind of baseline model. And I liked this racket a lot for returns, volleys, anything where I was kind of hitting or defending against a fast-paced ball. The stability and the control was really, really solid. Anytime I had to return against somebody who had a really big serve, I was able to just kind of get the racket out in front, and the racket seemed to do a lot of the work for me. When I was at the net, defending against hard hit balls at me or anything like that, again, I could just get the racket in front of the ball and it would do a lot of the work. I felt really comfortable from the baseline. I was able to generate pretty decent topspin. I felt like I had a lot of control with my backhand slice, which is not surprising considering Federer helped Wilson design this racket. And the comfort level was really high. So, when I hit the ball a little off center, I still felt okay. I didn't get a lot of feedback through my arm or anything like that. So it was a very comfortable racket. And the other area that I noticed that I liked this racket a lot was transitioning into the net. So when I was playing doubles, I served and volleyed some, or I'd be returning and volleying some. And on a lot of those half volleys and kind of transition volleys, I was able to control the ball really well, keep it low over the net, and the stability of the racket really presented itself well there. The two areas I kind of struggled with was on serves and depth on my ground strokes. So this is not a very powerful racket, and I'm not somebody who generates a ton of power on their serve naturally. So I usually need help with that. And what I found was I didn't get a lot of free points on my serve, and I didn't get a lot of depth on my ground strokes. I was able to manipulate the spins really well. I was able to move the ball around the court really well on my ground strokes, but I couldn't quite get the depth and the easy power that I get with some other rackets. So overall, I liked this racket a lot. For doubles, I would love it for probably 3 out of 4 games, as long as I don't use it on the game when I'm serving. But the other 3 games, loved it returning, loved it volleying. So a really, really solid racket for anyone who needs help with more control and feel and things like that. So again, we're going to link below to more information about the Pro Staff, and we will have some links for you to purchase this tennis racket as well. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. If you liked that video, be sure to click the thumbs up button below to help support the channel. And for even more gear reviews, double strategies, and interviews with pro tennis players and coaches, don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well. You'll find links to anything mentioned in the video below in the description, and to sign up for our newsletter where you'll get double strategies and discounts on the latest tennis gear, go to thetennistribe.com.